tent wall got pushed in. It was by a hand. I can remember seeing how big the outline was of the fingertips. And I turned around, and his face just turned white, and he ran away. A big hairy arm reached out over my right shoulder, out from behind the bush, and that's when he ran.
This is the Cryptid Creatures Podcast. I am Brian, and with me, as always, is my co-host Todd. What's up, buddy?
You know, I'm just sitting here thinking about how many of these episodes that we're putting out here, and the listens are growing and growing, and I'm really getting excited about it, man. I mean, it's really cool stuff.
Yep, I know. This is really growing. I'm amazed.
Me too. Shout out to you guys, and thanks for supporting us. We appreciate it.
Yes, you guys are awesome.
Yeah. So once again, we're going to have a little bit of fun tonight, talking about some Bigfoot encounters with John.
Yeah.
He has Cache Valley Bigfoot group page, so we're going to talk about that with him too, but we're going to hear his encounters as well. So,
little plug for his group page. There, go check it out if you're looking around the Facebook.
I think he's wrote a couple books, so we'll get into that too.
He has. Yes, he has, but we'll talk about that too, I believe.
All right, man. Let's bring him on. Let's not waste any more time.
Yeah, let's get him.
All right, here we go. Hey, John. How's it going, man?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for coming on and talking to us.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah, glad to have you.
So, John, you have a Facebook group page called Cache Valley Bigfoot. Why don't you talk about that real quick and tell us what got you started doing that?
I started that page because I was off Facebook for like 4 or 5 years, and my friends, after I wrote my book, they kept telling me to get on there because there's people who keep asking why I'm not on there. So I finally made a page, and it's just blown up. And I've been a believer since I was 12. That was my first sighting. I was 12 years old, and
wow.
Ever since then, it's just I've collected stories, and I talk to people, and I'm pretty open about it. And it's kind of nice, having people come up to me, because I have my car all decorated, with Sasquatch stuff on there, and and someone will see it and wait for me sometimes and talk to me about it. So yeah.
Cool. And what area are you in, John?
I'm in northern Utah. I'm currently in Texas right now. My wife's has some health issues, so we're down here doing some medical stuff.
Okay. Sorry to hear
that. Yeah, thanks.
Why don't you tell us about your encounter then when you were 12? Where were you? What was going on? And
so my first encounter, me and my friend Jimmy were on the golf course up in Smithfield, Utah. And we were down in the gully, and we were trying to find golf balls, because back then, if you found golf balls, you could sell them back to the club. And so we went in early spring. There was still some snow on the ground and some ice. And we were down in this gully, and we came out the one end of it, and in between them, there was a golf cart path, and we found a dead deer. It was a doe, and its neck was snapped in a weird position. And we're not, afraid of seeing dead things, because we've hunted and fished our whole lives. And, our neighbors would hang deer in the tree during the, after hunting season. And so, it wasn't really shocking to us, but how the neck was snapped, it looked weird. And we thought it fell on some ice. And we looked around, and there was no ice. And so right behind the deer, there was a big old bush. So I walked over to the deer. I was looking at it, and Jimmy was behind me. And I turned around, and his face just turned white, and he ran away. And I thought he was just joking, because sometimes, that's how he was. So I chased after him because something felt kind of weird. So I chased after him, caught up to him at the top of the gully, and he was like hysterical, like half crying and everything. And I said, what are you doing? And he's like, I thought it got you. I'm like, what are you talking about? What got me? And he said, when I turned around to, talk to him, a big hairy arm reached out over my right shoulder, out from behind the bush. and that's when he ran. And so I was like, yeah, right, And so we were talking, and all of a sudden we heard this roar, scream, whatever you call it, come out from that area. And we heard heavy steps, and it was running up towards us. We didn't know what it was. And it was coming up towards us, our side of the gully. And and I told him, I said, so I backed up and we grabbed some rocks that were right there by the edge of it. And we backed up to this, because I thought it was going to pop out right in front of us. But then it made a quick turn and went down the gully and up the other side and popped out the other side. And it was a big brown blur of fur, but it was running on two legs. And this thing was fast. It was big and fast, and it ran up towards the canyons that were, up above the foothills, and it was gone. But yeah, it happened real fast, but yeah, it was scary.
Did you see any details of anything on this creature?
Or? All I saw was the fur or hair. Sorry, the hair, and it was flowing, but it was big and tall, on two legs. That's all we saw in detail. He saw the arm and the hand, and he said it was a hand that was over my right shoulder. So like it wasn't a paw, it was a hand, is what he said.
So he saw this hand come over your shoulder like this thing was going to grab you. He takes off running.
Yeah,
you take
that's
off
what he
running.
thought. Yeah. And so I don't know if he was going to touch me or what. I don't know. I never saw it. I just saw it run after all that happened.
Did you notice any kind of smell or anything?
No, it was weird, but the deer looked fresh. I mean, it looked like it was a freshly killed deer. I mean, because there was no blood around it. Its neck was snapped in a weird position. I didn't touch the deer, but it didn't look like it was there for a long time. I mean, it looked pretty fresh. There was no smell to it at all. Like it wasn't picked over. It wasn't gutted or anything.
Well, that's what I've heard so many stories about these creatures hunting and killing deer, and the way they take care of these things is just a quick snap of the neck. And then that's it. So it sounds like maybe this thing had just killed this deer, and you guys kind of came up on it and surprised it, maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Now that I look back on it every so often, and I'm sure it was just freshly killed now as we're talking. Because I mean, just how it looked, and like it seemed like it was just barely happened.
Probably did.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you probably startled it. How much woods? Go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
Did you go back later to see if that deer was still there? Or
no, because we ran, after we saw it run from us, we ran clear home, which was, like if you walk it, it's probably like a 20-minute walk or so, but we ran it probably in 5 minutes. Our adrenaline was so pumped up, when we saw that thing. But no, yeah.
Did you tell anybody what happened?
I didn't at first. So what happened is, after we had this experience, this happened on a Saturday. So we go to school Monday, and we're in the library, doing a class project. And for some reason, I found this book. I think it was called Mysterious Earth or Mystic Planets or something like that. And I saw this book, so I opened it up. I was reading it, and I turned to this page, and there's Patty's. There's the Patty picture. And instantly I saw that, I said, that's what we saw. Like it was a click in my head. I'm like, that's what we saw. And so I called Jimmy over, and he looked at it, and he just didn't want to talk about it. He just walked away, didn't want to talk about it. And he still doesn't talk about it. So
no. You guys still friends today?
Yeah.
So what else happened to you? You said you had more than one encounter?
Yeah. So like a week later, this is another story. So we were just over the canyon from the golf course. We were up Hyde Park Canyon, and Hyde Park is where I'm from. And this is me and my friend Brett. And we were up on three hills. We had all these names for all the hills up there. And we looked across the canyon, on Cedar Hill, and there's a little cave. It's called Devil's Cave, or that's what we called it. And we've been there for years, and I noticed there was a tall brown thing against the wall of the cave on the outside of it. And I said, well, that's weird. I've never seen that there before. And he looks over. He's like, oh, it's probably a dead tree. It came down the hill. And I said, yeah, probably true. So we started hiking. We're trying to find some deer sheds and stuff, and we didn't find any. And I looked back over the hill, over across the canyon. That brown thing's gone. I said, Brett, it's gone. I said, where'd the brown thing go? And he looked. He's like, oh, it fell down the hill. I'm like, well, we might have heard that if that would have fell down the hill, because it looked pretty big. And so we hiked down the canyon. We're coming out of this meadow, and we're like about 100 yards from the cave, but we're going down out of the canyon now. And I'm behind Brett. He looks behind him, me. He turns around and looks at me, and all of a sudden he just starts running. So he's running. I'm chasing him, because I thought, probably a moose, or something, coming down to get us, or an elk. Mm-hmm. And he's screaming, ah! I'm like, what is? So we caught up to him. So I caught up to him. So we came out of the bottom of the canyon into a big meadow, and he stopped running because he kept looking over his shoulder as we were running. I never did, because I was just following him. And he stopped because I guess whatever was chasing us, was stopped in the tree line, and he was scared out of breath. So we went to his house and told his dad, and his dad's a mountain man, hunter, and everything. And his dad actually went up like an hour later and came back, and he was just kind of like acting weird. We're like, well, did you figure out, what chased us? And all he said is that he tracked it for a good mile or two, but he said it was walking. Not, he said it was walking on two legs, and he tracked it. He backtracked. He saw where we ran and saw where it came, and then he saw where it went, and it went up the canyon, and that was just over. Like it wasn't that far from where a week prior, from where it ran to. So, but, over the years, as a kid growing up, we always heard about the hillside growler. And that was kind of like I guess the name for Bigfoot there. But that's what people called it. It said, if you go up the canyon, watch out for the hillside growler.
Okay. Yeah, everyone kind of puts names of these things based on location. You hear that's a new one to me, so I'm going to write that one down.
Yeah, we're going to keep that one. Check into that one.
Yeah.
So what kept your interest in this? Just those incidences, and then you just decided from there? Did you go back out looking for these things, or what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really go out, and look for them. It's just like I just had experiences with, something, that I don't know what it is. I've seen it, I've experienced it, and it's always intrigued me that, I would hear stories, like around the campfire, and people would say, it's not real and everything. I'm like, well, I've seen something that, I can't explain to what, I can't compare it to any other animal I've seen here, like in northern Utah,
right.
Like bears and moose. I mean, yeah, it's just, you can't explain it until someone sees it. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, I can't make you believe until you experience it,
Without me looking at a map right now, how wooded was that area by the golf course you were at?
Back then, now there's tons of houses, you know how development goes. But back then, there was no houses up past where it ran. So it was just all fields, trees. But now it's all houses.
Did you ever hear of anyone else, like on the golf course, have any sightings after that?
No, but I have since. Ever since I've been, on Facebook and writing my 2 books. Yeah, I've gotten people writing me and telling me things that they saw something in their window one night, or they heard the screams or the the whoops and heard all that kind of stuff.
So tell us about your books. What's the titles and what?
So my book is Cache Valley Bigfoot, and in the first title, it's pretty much it's called A Field Guide and Stories about Sasquatch in the valley. And then my other one is Sometimes Shadows Do Move in the Woods, and that just came out last night. It's online now.
Cool.
I just gathered stories from people, and I put them in the book, and I kind of explain what might have happened after, or during, like what they experienced. It's kind of amazing how many, I get all these messages and texts and emails from people who share it with me and always say, I thought I was the only one who experienced this, and I mean, I'm kind of amazed at how big my page has gotten. I mean, I went from, I can't remember. I mean, there was 1 week, I think I added 300 people.
Oh, wow.
In 1 week. And I was like, holy cow. And I did a small survey, and I think in all my members, I think about 90% of people have either had an experience, know someone who has, or heard about one who had joined my page. I have some naysayers on my page, which is fine. And
of course I
want that. Yeah. Everybody does.
Yep.
And I don't mind that at all. And I mean, I had a guy who sent me a pretty nasty private message about how he worked in one area for his whole career, and there's no way there's Bigfoot. And then I had like 12 people who had stories in that same area. So, I don't know.
You could go your whole life and never see one,
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or they've experienced it, but don't, know what it was. Or they say it was a bear, I mean, right. I've had people tell me they're bears they're seeing. I'm like, there are bears up there, but a bear can't walk, how you described.
Right. Yeah.
I know they can walk on their hind legs, but not for a long distance.
Not for any distance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a bear's not going to snap a deer's neck. That's not how they kill deer.
No.
Unless they learn how to do that over the years, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, especially how this one was snapped. I mean, it looked like it was just grabbed, and its head was like back by the, its shoulders. I mean, it wasn't snapped off either. I mean, it was like a branch twist. It just twisted it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Because I can see the deer right now in my, head. I can see how it looked and everything.
Yeah, you're always going to have the naysayers. It takes more effort for those people to get on these pages to try to argue with someone and to have a closed mind like that, and to not realize that there's things out there that we just don't know about,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And people are seeing things, they're seeing things and they're talking about it, and they're describing the same things every time. So there's something going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I mean, I have an area up there right now. It's up by White Pine Lake, and I've gotten stories from the 70s that have the same incident every time. There's one Bigfoot up there, or it's a passed down trait. He likes to throw rocks at the hikers and campers around this lake, and he's never hit anybody. But it seems like it's a learned, passed down trait, because I mean, I've had stories from the 70s, so I doubt he's still, around. But he doesn't hit people. He throws these big old heavy rocks that come in, like a fastball, right? About a foot from him, but they'll never hit close to him at all. He throws pine cones at tents and everything. I think it's just like a pastime, I guess.
Or he's trying to scare people away.
He's probably just bored,
Yeah. And in my new book, I have lots of stories about that area. And I actually talked to somebody who works in the Forest Service, and he was kind of playing it off. I said, look, for all the stories I've gotten, I said, you guys have to know there's something up there, because I'm like, I've been getting, stories from the 70s, now it's 2021. I said, that's 50 years. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there's something going
Yeah,
on.
they know what's going on.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to talk to some of those forestry guys.
Yeah, it's fun, because I tried to do that too, and I've talked to some sheriffs and highway patrol who did the canyon up there, and I gave them my card last summer. Sorry, I gave them my card, and they were really happy to get that because they're like, now we don't have to worry about doing long. You just hand the card to them and say, here, call him.
Right.
Because I guess they have some reports they get and incidents up there in the canyon, and of course it's in that same area where there's a big area of sightings. So
John, did you say there's some cave systems around that area?
there's some caves up there, up around White Pine Lake and Tony Grove Lake. I've been in one. It has lots of old crystals. You can go in there, get crystals and stuff. And I've never seen any evidence of animals inside of it, but that's just one of the caves. I have people tell me there's like a whole chain of caves up there and abandoned mines and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, there's a cave area up there for sure. There's lots of good places to, if I was a Bigfoot, I'd be happy up there.
And this is northern Utah?
Yeah. It's just on the border of Idaho.
I was just going to say up by Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on up there. A lot of lakes, a lot of...
Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised at how busy it is up there with sightings until I got my page started, and I kept, hearing stories and getting stories. And, I've talked to people out in town who saw my car and saw my stickers, and they're like, and it's been kind of fun, to see that they're not the only ones that experience the same thing. And some of them have experienced it like in the same week. They don't know each other, so.
Right.
But it's a busy area. Like if you guys saw the one, there was a video last year that came out from the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization. Who did a comparison of the Peter Stinks. That's in that same area. And that's a cool video that they did a comparison on. And,
let's see that one.
Yeah, that was a big creature. Whoever filmed it, that was a big creature that they filmed, and it was walking out in the open right on this hillside.
Oh yeah, I saw the video. Yeah, he's massive.
Yeah, that's not far from anywhere up there. So White Pine Lake and Tony Grove is just like maybe 5 miles away from there, maybe 6 miles up. So I mean, it's in that same general area.
How would I find that video again?
I would go on YouTube and I would type in the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization. And I think it's called the Sinks video or Peter Sinks or the Sinks video.
Okay. So
they do a comparison.
Back to your encounter, what do you think this thing was going to do if you didn't take off running? Do you think it was going to grab you? Do you think it was going to touch you? Do you think it was just curious what the heck you were? And was it close enough that it, I guess, could have touched you?
Well, on the golf course, I think he said it was pretty much gonna, it was right over my right shoulder. So, I mean, it had to be real close. I don't know if it was going to touch me and that's it or grab me. I think the one that chased us, whatever chased us wasn't going to, grab us. Because, I mean, as people say and some researchers have said, like, if they want you, they'll get you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And, yeah, for sure. I mean, I had one, I'll tell that story in a minute if you want. But, so I don't know what it wanted. I do believe there's a curiosity with kids. And I kind of have that hypothesis where it's kind of like a lineage of mice and men kind of thing, And so that's why I watch my daughter real close when she's out there in the woods because I'm like, I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, I think they have a really big interest in children. I don't think they're out to harm anything. And I think that they're just trying to drive people away from their territory. They don't want to be discovered. They don't want to be known. And that's why they've kept it so secretive for so long. They're good at hiding out. And they're just a different species of who knows what that's been able to stay hidden for a long time, and they want to push people away from their territory, and you get closer to them, they're going to chase you, they're going to throw rocks at you, they're going to yell and howl at you, just enough to keep you away. The crazy thing is how close you were to this thing and didn't even realize it was there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I tell people that all the time.
I
tell them that all the time. There was a study done by there was a graduate from Utah State who was doing her undergrad, and she did a survey of, she had game cameras all over the area. And she said, well, in her study, she found out that there were mountain lions in all these areas of the valley, the mountain. And she put some cameras above Third Dam, and Third Dam has a big campground area and everything. And she said she watched one video of a family hiking on a trail. The mountain lion came out right as they passed, and they came back down the trail. The mountain lion went about 5 feet off the trail, was in a bush right by the trail. They walked right by him, didn't see him at all. And I was like, that's amazing. And she's like, I wonder how many people walk by these things and don't see them.
Right.
And that same as Bigfoot. I'm sure I walked by him on a trail, didn't see him. I'm sure of that. Same as mountain lions, same as moose. I've walked by moose and didn't know they were there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Brian and I have been in some pretty remote areas out in Oregon and Washington area, and I'm pretty sure the same things happened with us. We've probably been really close to some and not even known it.
Yeah.
They're just masters.
You're from Oregon and Washington? That's cool. I was born in Cedar Woolley.
Well, we're not from there, but we go out there. Where were you from?
Okay.
A couple times a year.
I'm from Utah, but I was born there.
Okay, I gotcha. So you had made another comment about something else another encounter that you had or an incident?
Yeah, this happened. Oh my gosh, when was this? Like in '99 or 2000? I can't remember the exact year because they all run together now. I was camping in the Wind Rivers in Wyoming, at Big Sandy Lake, and I was up there by myself. It was the end of the summer, pretty much. There was it wasn't really busy. I only passed 2 hikers coming in as I was going in, and so I was there by myself. And I was fishing and stuff. And my last night there, I was fishing. I caught some fish. I cooked them down by the lake. And across the lake was a rock slide area. And I kept hearing these clacks, like there's something hitting rocks together. But I thought it was just rocks falling down off the hill onto each other. But it sounded kind of like, it was in a rhythm. But I just played it off like it's just rocks falling. So I go to camp. I get camp all broken down because I was hiking out the next morning, and I was in my tent. Oh, sorry. So right before I went to bed, I thought I heard a whoop or a howl across the lake, but I thought that was probably a coyote or something. So I got in bed at about 10 o'clock. So about 2 o'clock, I'm laying there. I woke up wide awake, and the weird thing is when I woke up, I knew there was something in my camp. And I noticed that everything was dead quiet. So I'm laying there on my back and I look up and I have one of these old army tents that slant over your head.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking up, my eyes adjusted to the, darkness because there was a full moon out. It was bright. You could see everything outside, the shadows. And my tent wall got pushed in. And it wasn't by a paw. It was by a hand. It got gently pushed in right over my head, and I can remember seeing how big the outline was of the fingertips from thumb to pinky. It was huge. It was a big hand, and I coughed, and it slowly pulled away from the tent. It shuffled its feet backwards, and I could tell it was feet. And I know it wasn't a bear paw. This thing was. You can see each individual tip of the finger, and I was like, I know you're there. Who's out there? And it shuffled its feet more, and then it turned and walked away. And so right when it started walking away, I waited till I couldn't really, hear it as close. And I opened up my tent, And I got out with my flashlight and I looked at the area where it was going. I didn't see anything, but I could still hear it in the trees walking away. And yeah, so it touched my tent. And I looked around in the morning for tracks. I didn't see any because it was hard packed ground. It's like a rocky kind of campground area. But you could see where it went. You saw the grass, all pushed away, like as animals walk through grass. And then it was just eerie that I didn't notice it till I think it probably heard me snoring and it walked up to the tent because I had my tent was really dark green, and it was low to the ground. So I don't know if it didn't see me or it heard me, but it couldn't tell where I was at because the tent was like green and kind of like camouflage.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
so you stayed the night then? You didn't get up and leave?
No, I didn't feel any fear at all. I mean, I was hiking out anyway, like in the morning. I mean, I kind of had a restless night's sleep after, but I felt safer after all the sounds came back. Because when I woke up, there was no sounds at all. You know how that happens to people who have experienced, say, it went silent.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And but after it left, it came back. All the sounds came back, like the wind, the birds, the night animals, the insects. Yeah, it was just strange. But
yeah, we hear that a lot. We hear that a lot. When they're in the area, everything gets real quiet.
Yeah.
Yep.
People always talk
and that's
about
what I tell people. I tell people that all the time.
I always thought about. I've heard a lot of incidences where these things always are checking out people in tents. I always thought, what if someone just pitched a tent out in the middle of nowhere and set up a camera or two and just left?
Yeah, exactly.
And see if these things would come up and investigate. They seem to be very curious about what these tent things are, touching them, pushing on them, not destroying them, just checking them out.
Yeah. Well, now hammocks too.
Yeah.
I've heard stories about people getting pushed in their hammock. I'm like, that'd be kind of creepy.
I think we have a story like that.
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
I believe I do. Yeah. Yep. It's just crazy what these things are doing out there, and just I think they're curious. A lot of them are curious.
Yeah.
I think they know what humans are and kind of what we're about, but you have the ones that, have never experienced human contact or anything like that, and they want to get out and see what the hell's going on. They're curious like we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I got a question for you guys. So have you guys heard a difference between aggressiveness between that is difference between the ones up, like in the western part of, America, like Oregon, Washington, Utah, Idaho, to the ones down south, like Texas?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. The ones down south seem to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think that
is? The ones up in the Pacific Northwest are a little more docile, a little more.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I want to know, your hypothesis. I don't know. I think it might be, I just don't know why they're so aggressive down here, or seem to be more apt to be aggressive and, kind of like, attack people.
Yeah, I think it's because it's less densely forested. I mean, they have less hiding places down there, and it's hot.
It's hot, yeah. Hot and muggy, yeah.
So I think that's got a lot to do with it. I think their habitat is less, so I think they get a little more aggressive with their area when people show up.
And I think I think the heat has a lot to do with it too. I mean, these things are just full of fur and whatnot, and they're capable of living in very cold temperatures, I'm sure. But yeah, down south in the heat all year round, it probably is unbearable a little bit for them, and they're probably like, "What am I doing here?"
Or they're in the swamp, dealing with gators and snapping turtles, and
right.
Could be.
They're mad about that.
So they got to be aggressive. So.
And honestly, if you want my opinion, you got a lot more guys down in those areas hunting, toting guns. Shooting at everything down there. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I just think there's more of that activity going on, and up in the Pacific Northwest, things are kind of more chill. They really are.
Right.
Yeah.
And and like Brian said, they've got a lot more area to hide up there, a lot more forestry. It's more their domain.
Right.
What made them, drift to the south and kind of be in that area, I don't know. But yeah, I've heard that a lot, and I think Brian's right when he says the heat for sure has a lot to do with it, and less coverage down there for the most part. So they're fighting.
Okay.
They're fighting more for their lives down there as far as not being discovered and whatnot.
Right.
And it could be a difference of I think environment does a lot to it. It's like me, living where I do. It's like, why do I stick around here and deal with these winters and these cold, and it makes me grouchy. It makes me
Every
grouchy.
year. Yep, every year.
It makes me want to throw rocks at people. So
Yeah.
I mean,
So I get it.
yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I think there's different species of these things, or different kinds of these things. You've got the orangutan-looking ones down in Florida, the skunk ape kind of thing.
Yeah.
Pacific Northwest is more the patty-looking thing. I think environment and climate changes the appearance of these things too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because Oklahoma, they're always kind of like a reddish color in Oklahoma on the Red River and that kind of area. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, because I've heard from people here in Texas, like they seem to be more aggressive and more apt to actually,
Right. So especially in Northeast Texas,
we've
heard some
they'll do
pretty
a bluff charge. I mean, I've never been charged at all by one, but man, I wouldn't like it.
Well,
no, that would be that would not be desirable.
You almost got grabbed by one, for God's sakes. It sounds like.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was there.
Probably a good thing.
Until we heard it running up towards us, we're like, okay, there's something here, and then it popped out the other side of the gully, and it was gone. But I was like, I don't know. But
I just think they're more like people. You've got different dialects of people. You have Oriental people. You've got your European people. Your Indian people, Middle Eastern people.
Yeah.
I think the same goes with them too. And I think they have temperaments just like people do. You got some people who can be nice as anything, and then you've got people who are just grouchy all the time.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about how in movies with Bigfoot they always make him really mean and aggressive and violent. And I was like, everything I've experienced, has never been that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, and he agrees, well, it's for the show, it's for the audience. I said, yeah, but, my experiences, have kind of been like, here in the Hendersons, where it's like gentle and it's like not aggressive and,
right.
Only mean when it has to be. And so.
Yeah, out of the interviews we've done, I would say most of them seem to be more on the easygoing, docile side. There's some that are out there that definitely can be dangerous, and a lot of people think that they can be dangerous, and they probably can be if they're provoked.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I've been paced out before. I was walked out of an area, and I knew, like it was weird. Like I crossed this one trail, and all of a sudden I was like, I shouldn't be here. And sure enough, I heard something pacing me, and it pretty much walked me out.
Yeah, I mean, for those people out there who say, "Oh, Bigfoot's not real. There's no way." Blah blah blah. These are people that probably don't get out and do a lot of hiking in remote areas. If more people get out in those areas and in places like you're talking about, I think they're going to be more open-minded about what can be out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So too.
Yeah.
You take mountain lions, for example, like we were talking earlier. I think more people are probably seeing Bigfoot than they are mountain lions. It's tough to see one, They don't want to be seen. You're not going to see them.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've walked into, I worked in Alaska for a few summers, and I watched a moose vanish in front of my eyes. I mean, I was like 20 yards away from it. It walked into these trees. It was gone. And I could have, and I mean, it camouflaged so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and I was that close to it. And it was a big old bull moose. And it was, it was gone in the tree. I didn't know where it went.
Right.
It
So
happened that fast.
Yeah, most people that don't live in those areas or have never been to those areas don't realize just how dense that forest is.
No,
I mean,
no.
we have forests here, but it's nothing like the Pacific Northwest or Alaska or anything. It is amazing how thick and dense you can get lost stepping 5 feet into those woods.
Yeah. I mean, I got lost for 20 minutes in the redwoods in California, and that freaked me out. I was on this trail, and I thought I was on the right trail, and I got lost. I was lost for 20 minutes. My family couldn't find me, and I couldn't find them. And yeah, I got scared a little bit.
Sounds like you got lucky.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Too. John, what do you think Bigfoot is?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. I asked Jeff Meldrum this the other. I went to his lab this past spring.
Awesome.
No kidding.
It was great. It was awesome. I don't know. I don't know if they're. I don't know. I know they're a creature. I don't know. I know they're, they're more human and hominid than. I don't know. I don't think they're alien. I can't get there yet. I know people do believe that.
Right.
I just think they're a primate, undiscovered, as Jane Goodall says. She hopes there is, something here. I don't know. I can never answer that. I don't know why.
It's because nobody does know. Because
nobody knows.
I mean, there's no right answer. I just like to hear people's opinions. If you ask mine, I think they're just kind of a lineage that's kind of branched off and kind of went, developed in their own way. You talk about mountain gorillas and Jane Goodall. I mean, we didn't discover mountain gorillas till what, 100 and some years ago?
The early 1900s, yeah.
Yeah.
If you got a species that's smarter than a mountain gorilla, that may be part human or have human traits, of course it's going to be a lot harder to find these things. And if they want to stay hidden and they have the mobility that they do, and the strength, the size, come on. I mean, like Brian said, you get out there in that wilderness out in the Pacific Northwest, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of dense forestry people have never touched out there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like when I listened to the podcast with whoever podcast it was, but they had on Les Stroud, and a Survivor Man, and he said people don't understand how vast it is, and they asked him, well, why haven't they found a body? And he says, in all the years I've been in the backwoods and middle of nowhere, he's like, I found one bear, and he said there's 35,000 bears alone in Oregon. He said I found one.
Yeah.
He said, the forest just takes everything.
And that's Les
That's
Stroud.
what I tell people.
That's Les Stroud, who's out there all the time.
All the time.
That's what he does for a living.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I tell people.
My wife is not a believer at all.
Mine's not either.
She thinks I'm crazy for thinking this, but she supports it. But we were just down in Kentucky, Tennessee area recently and took her out in the wilderness a little bit. We didn't do too much hiking, but driving around and getting back in some of those mountains. Mm-hmm. And she made a comment. She's like, there could be things out here that people don't know about. Mm-hmm. She's not saying she believes in Bigfoot, but she understands that vastness out there, that things could live out here and no one would ever know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's how my wife is too. She doesn't believe. She wants the body, and that's what she wants to have, for proof. And I mean, I took her to the Sasquatch outpost in Bailey, Colorado, and we went through that whole museum, and she still couldn't come out of there as anything but, I don't believe. I'm like, how? You saw all this stuff.
Man. We should be living out west, man. This Indiana crap is.
Brian, we're taking the show on the road. Let's go.
That's right. We're out of here.
Hey, you should.
We're gonna come by. Cool. We're gonna come to Utah first and check it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that'd be cool.
We would if we could. Believe me.
And another thing that I thought about too. It's like if these things can stay hidden like they do, on top of the fact that I believe the government knows about it and covers it up.
Oh, for
100%.
sure.
How are you gonna ever have a body? You know, you hear these stories about these guys maybe shooting one or finding,
Yeah.
you know, trapping one or whatever, if it's true, and then these guys in black show up, and you know, next thing you know, they're not
You-
supposed to talk about
you-
it.
Where somebody's just going to have to be quick about it. Somebody's going to have to shoot one or trap one or something, have a camera right there,
Yeah,
and get
I
that
actually,
shit uploaded or given to a reputable news outlet if there is
Yep.
one left.
yeah, I have a story in my in book number 1 where there was a father and son that were hunting, up Logan Canyon, and they were across this a valley from one. They actually saw it. They got it in their scope because when he said when they first saw it, they thought it was a black bear, and so he got it in his scope, see, and he said it wasn't a black bear. He said it was a Bigfoot, but he said when he tried to get it on his phone scope, reattach his phone scope to have it recorded, it was gone. And he said, "How can it vanish that fast?" I said, "They do,
They do.
and it happens all the time." But he said he had it in his scope for a good 10 or 20 seconds, and then he hurried and grabbed the recorder, and it was gone. He took his eyes off it, and I said, imagine the government, they have all that kind of stuff, and they know it's there.
Oh, yeah.
Have bodies and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've heard stories about helicopters flying in, taking some of these things out that were nuisance ones, and I kind of feel like they have. I don't think I think that they're like alien or anything like that, but I think they have some special capabilities. I don't want to say powers or anything like that, but I think they kind of
I agree.
They sense electromagnetic things, cameras, stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I think they're just more in nature in there with their environment, so they know when foreign objects are introduced into their environment.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I put some game cameras out in the areas where I thought it'd walk through, and I only caught cows and moose. I did catch something weird on my game camera. I have a segment of photos on my page if you want to see them later. I got this weird light and weird reactions on my camera, and that was strange to me. Yeah, I mean, I tell people, about Mount St. Helens eruption and the bodies there and how they were taken out, and they're shocked. And I was like, hey, there's plenty of stories about Mount St. Helens eruption, and Bigfoot. And I don't know about the one story. I'm sure you've heard about the one that was walking around with the army and leading them to areas and howling or whooping. And I'm like, I can kind of hope that's true, but you never know.
Right.
We've heard that story several times where this Bigfoot was showing the people where these other Bigfoot were that tried to save them or something like that.
Yeah.
There's just so much. And those people that say, oh, no, it's not real. It's not real. Well, read about it, do your investigation, hear keep an open mind and listen. And then you can make a decision from there. And a lot of people are going to say, hey, not until I see one, not until I see a body. I'd love to see one. Brian would love to see one.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But we believe that they're there. There's too much proof. These footprints, encounters. I mean, the similarities. The stuff that you talk about, John. You wrote 2 books. You have a Facebook page, group. I mean, something's going on out there. It's not just us in this world.
Right. No, exactly. And it's kind of, well, I mean, there's a story that I heard. It was, that guy Steve on How to Hunt, his YouTube page.
I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he reads stories that are sent to him, and there was one actually from northern Utah, and so this guy he was up hunting, and he found this area where there was all these kills, like a graveyard kind of thing. There's all these bones and everything, and he got a weird smell. And got chased out of there by something. So he went and told the Forest Service, and he feels bad about it now. But he said it's funny. Like a week later, he goes back up there, to where he said the sighting was happening. This stuff happened. It was all burnt.
Oh, okay.
He's like, there were helicopters. He said the area got, somehow burned in a fire, and all that stuff was gone.
Interesting.
So he's like, I made a mistake. He's like, I told the authorities about something that I probably shouldn't have said, because he's like, it's just weird how that area all of a sudden got burned after I said something.
Yeah, I think if I were to, let's say I'm out and I just happen to find and shoot a Bigfoot, and I was able to, kill it. I'm not pro kill necessarily. If that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. But I think I would try to take maybe a hand or a finger or a toe or something like that, and get it straight to Mr. Jeff Meldrum that you were talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You guys need to go to his lab.
I'd love to.
We would love to.
I'd love to get him on and talk to him, and that's what
Yeah.
we're
How
going to
does
try
that?
to do.
How does that work? Do we call him? Do we email him?
Yeah, how did you get in touch with him?
I just emailed him for through his professor email, his school email, and he's pretty good about getting back pretty fast. It depends what he's doing,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a real nice guy. He's really open. He's really nice. Yeah, his lab was fun. I took my daughter up there with me,
Oh man, I bet.
and she loved it.
Love to go.
She had a ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, his lab's amazing.
Yeah, we'll have to get in touch with him.
Yeah. Oh,
reach
yeah.
out to him, get him on.
Yeah, he's really open about everything. He's really nice. I mean, it was just random. I just emailed him and say, hey, can I come to your lab? He's like, sure. The only thing he says, if you go to his lab, he wants you to buy a track, which is
Not a
fine
problem.
with me.
Yeah,
No,
it's fine with
fine
me.
with
Yeah,
I'll buy several.
I can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'll put them
And
in
he
my
even
yard
signs
as
them.
decorations.
Oh, yeah. He even signs them too. So,
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
yeah. So, I mean, it's not far
Is
at
that
all.
the University of Idaho? or-
Idaho State, yeah.
Idaho State. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That's in Pocatello.
So, what?
Yeah.
Give us the name of your books again.
Cache Valley Bigfoot. It's a field guide and stories of Bigfoot in the valley. And the new one that came out last night is Cache Valley Bigfoot. Sometimes the shadows do move in the woods.
Okay. For our listeners,
And
if
then
they
I
want to
have-
get a copy too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any signed yet. Sorry, I haven't got all that taken care of.
That's all right.
So, but no, yeah, but I'll get some books here and I'll sign them, and then I can send them out later to people who buy them from me, in person or
Mhm.
on Facebook. And no, I'm hoping to keep, it keeps growing, and I appreciate being on the show. Thanks for having me, and hopefully it's a good one.
Yeah, we'll promote you too.
The
So,
pleasure is ours.
Yeah, I appreciate
The
it.
pleasure is
Absolutely.
ours. We appreciate
Yeah.
it.
No, it's not a problem. I'd like to do it again. No, I'm kind of nervous about doing these kind of things. 'Cause I've only done a few, but I'm getting more comfortable with them.
Yeah, you did good.
Yeah, that's a good one. Again, you have the Facebook page, Cache Valley Bigfoot. People want to get on there and check it out, and probably reach out to you if they want to try to get a copy of the book. Will it be on Amazon or anything like that in the future?
It's on Amazon right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, good.
and that's where it is right now. Yeah, I don't have any other ones so far of my new one out yet that I have at home. I do have some of my old ones here at home that are signed and ready to go. Yeah, I'll just send them to you for sure.
Awesome.
I got some shirts too. So what shirts do you wear? Just send me the sizes, and
Okay.
I'll send you some shirts.
We'll do the
too.
same. We'll send you some shirts
Yeah.
and some hats and whatnot, so we can
Yeah,
just,
sweet.
we can just trade off.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, let's do it for sure.
We haven't written a book yet, but we're working
Trade
on that.
swag.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, writing a book, I thought it would be, it'd be tedious, and I enjoyed it, because I got all the stories and I put them together, like in certain ways, but I never changed any. So here's what I do. So I get the stories, and I made a promise to myself that I've submitted stories to books, and they've changed everything. And they added details that I never, wrote, or they did this and
Yeah,
that.
we've heard that before.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm not doing that. So I had some reviews on my book last year that said, oh, his writing sucks. It's just horrible. And so in my book this year, I wrote down, I said, here's why. I don't change anything. I don't change how they write, because most people will write how they talk.
Right.
And so I do it as that. I do, add, probably, a space here. And, I do spaces and paragraphs, and, I break it up, but I get these, long emails that are all one long sentence pretty much.
Yeah.
And so, I go in and out commas or periods and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to add details. I'm not going to, make it more scary as happened to, my books and happened to my stories that I've submitted. And so I'm like, I'm keeping it how they wrote it.
Right. And that's how you should do it.
Yeah. I mean, I had one story and I was really upset that he added details and some other stuff. And I was like, oh, it's not how it happened.
Yep. Find a different publisher at that point, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I submitted a story to a guy. Yeah. And he used it and added lots of details that I didn't write. And even my wife's like, you don't, talk that way or write that way. I said, no, I don't. And so,
yeah.
Okay.
You want to put it down in your own words. We totally understand that. And
yeah.
that's why we're doing this show, so you can come on here and tell it how you want to tell it and get it out there to the people. So, well, John, we appreciate you coming on once again, man, and sharing this stuff with us. It's awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We'll get your book and read it and get back with you and talk some more down the road here.
Yeah, let's do it for sure. Yeah, I'm already planning on book number 3, and but I'm gonna branch out from up in Utah. I'm gonna branch out into Idaho, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, and call that kind of stuff and do a regional one.
Yeah,
and so
it's a lot of work. People don't realize, how much is involved in this. Just Brian and I doing the podcast, what it takes, and trying to go to shows. And we haven't gotten out into too much excursions yet, but that alone is a lot of work and a lot of money. It's nice.
Yeah. I'm planning on going to Utah next year for at least 10 or 12 days with, go back to visit family and stuff. But I'm going to do a book signing at the library, hopefully, and
that'd be cool.
And some other things. But yeah, I need to get out to some conferences. I was going to go to the one in Utah that happened in October, and I was invited, and I was going to be a speaker, but everything kind of fell through at the, like a few weeks before. I got a job promotion, and my wife got real sick, so I'm like, I can't do it. Yeah. So I had to back out, which is not fun. I let some people down.
It's a lot of time and planning for sure.
Yeah. So hopefully, I'm going to do some conferences coming up in the spring or early winter. I think there's one coming up, I think here in Texas in January or February. So I might go to that one. So
well, hopefully we can meet up at one sometime down the road here soon too.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, for sure. Cool.
Do a live show together.
I need to come to Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Oh, are you coming to Indiana? Sure.
Yeah.
I would love that.
We'll let you know which one we're going to, and maybe we can meet up some point.
For sure. Excellent.
Well, man, thanks again. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll talk to you online.
Sounds good,
thanks for taking the time.
You take care.
Have a good day.
You too,
buddy. You too, John.
See ya.
Yep. Bye.
Can you imagine? What if that thing would have grabbed him?
We probably wouldn't have been talking to him.
What the?
That's amazing.
I'd like to talk to his buddy who actually was the one that saw that arm come out and then his face turn and take off running.
Yeah, but apparently he doesn't want to talk about it. So.
Right. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. This stuff is just, you can't make this up, No
way, man. There's too many people out there with the same similar stories, and it's just can't be coincidence. So
no, definitely not. With the neck snapping of the deer, sounds like they just kind of interrupted its meal. Times. Yeah, definitely. That thing be hanging around a golf course though, that's kind of scary in itself.
They who was I watching? I think it was Finding Bigfoot, and they were talking about that golf courses are popular places, man, for some reason.
Must be, well, there's probably a lot of deer running around there. I don't blame them, so.
For sure.
Man, once again, thanks for hanging out with me. It was a good episode.
Oh, man, yeah, always fun. Heck yeah.
We'll keep getting some good content out there for everyone and finding good encounters to bring to you guys, and we appreciate it. So, as always.
Keep listening. Keep giving us the follows and the rates, and we'll keep it coming.
Absolutely. Till next time, my friend. Have a good one, bud.
Pleasure. See ya.